Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 186 and we're your host Jake.
And Matt.
And here we'll be running you through all the action of Matchday 1 in this season's Serie A campaign.
We're back. It's me. It's Jake. It's Nick, the man, the myth, the legend. Give us a scream, Nick.
There
Yes,
he is, there he is.
yes. We're back, guys. We're back. Every single game, every single team, every single week. As always, we'll be running you through all the action from beginning to end. In this order, actually, we'll start things off with Sassuolo 0, Napoli 2, the defending champions, coming back, and the MVP opening the scoring, and probably the biggest name that has entered Serie A apart from Luka Modric, getting the second goal over there in Kevin De Bruyne. We'll then move on to Milan's opening game, their home loss to newly promoted Cremonese, highlighted by a stunning bicycle kick by Bonazzoli and just a fantastic performance by their new signing Baschirotto, former Lecce captain. Just what a performance.
And what a flex.
Mr. Muscle Man. We'll then jump to Gasperini's debut for Roma, beating Bologna 1-0 thanks to a Wesley goal, of course, the new signing. And then we'll jump to Inter 5, Torino 0. Not much to add over there. Thuram got 2 goals. Lautaro scored a goal. Bastoni scored and assisted. It was an absolute feast for their
Sucic
opening.
got himself an assist too.
Sucic got an assist, so really great early signs there for Kivu's men. We'll then jump to Juve 2, Parma 0. Just whenever I watch Juve, I'm in awe of Yildiz. A brilliant performance by him, 2 assists. A great sign for them as well is that Vlahovic and David both scored. Cambiaso did get a red card to show that he hasn't learnt his lesson from last season. Como 2, Lazio 0. Super pause, super Como. Just
The pause show.
the pause show. But Como completely dominated this game. Their press was superb. Lazio couldn't breathe. Sarri's Lazio couldn't build the ball, couldn't build play out from the back, which was absolutely crazy. Atalanta 1, Pisa 1. We knew Atalanta would struggle. We didn't know that struggle against Gilardino's Pisa. There was a Hien own goal, and then Scamacca did well to score himself and make it 1-1. That is a great sign for Atalanta that Scamacca is already firing. Cagliari 1, Fiorentina 1. A last-minute Luperto header, and just the scenes were immaculate. My girlfriend was in Sardinia. I told her to go watch that game, and she didn't. She would have loved it. But great spirit by Pisaccane's men, who I quite enjoyed watching, actually. Udinese 1, Hellas Verona 1. Did you bet on a draw? Of course you did, because it's Udinese against Hellas Verona.
2 goals from corners.
2 goals from corners,
Yeah.
of course. It was Serdar's goal that cancelled Christensen's opener. And then to end things off, we'll end with Genoa 0, Lecce 0. Genoa quite disappointing. Some good signs from new signings. Lecce showed signs of promise. And Falcone, back to his usual self. Great goalkeeping by him. One of the standout performers of this week.
Absolutely, bro. There's a lot to get into. We'll just run you through the formalities before we break down each of these games one by one.
Before we do that,
Yes, our goal of the week.
Our goal of the week segment is
Yes.
back.
So, this week there were 2 goals that stood out to me. Well, 3 goals
Yeah,
if you
3,
take into
yeah.
consideration Nico Paz's free kick as well, which was absolutely perfect.
I think it'd be around like 50% of people's goal of the week.
Yeah. But for me, it had to be Como's first goal, simply because of Nico Paz and how effortlessly he set that up. So he patiently waited to receive a ball while Nuno Tavares was charging at him. He waited patiently. The second he received the ball, he turned and pirouetted around Nuno Tavares, completely removing him from the situation, and just played a perfectly weighted ball to Douvikas. The ball just stopped right in front of Douvikas. It was perfectly weighted. All he had to do was take a couple of touches and finish. It wasn't the cleanest finish by any means, but the assist was just spectacular, in my opinion.
It's a stunning goal and a brilliant showcase of the kind of player Nico Paz can be. The kind of guy to create something out of nothing. You receive the ball in that position, you'll never reckon your striker's going to be clean through on goal.
Yeah.
And a striker like Douvikas, who's on hot form, scored 2 in the Coppa, scored on the opening day as well. Really good early signs from Como, but that goal was spectacular because of Nico Paz. Of course, there's then Nico Paz's free kick, but that's not my goal of the week either. Of course, my goal of the week, me being a sadist, had to be Bonazzoli's ravusciata. I mean, even the build-up was amazing, where Baschirotto got the ball, he backheeled it to the winger. The winger put an inch-perfect cross into the box, and Bonazzoli, just the confidence for Bonazzoli to go for that. His second ravusciata against Milan, it's amazing.
Yeah.
His first ravusciata against Milan was for Salernitana,
In 2022.
and Milan won the league that year.
Exactly, yes. So keep that in mind. Bonazzoli has a knack for the spectacular.
Absolutely.
Right?
He has that Borriello fire.
Yeah.
If a ball's coming in, it has to be a ravusciata.
He loves it. And Pezzella's crossing game has really improved.
It
Like
really,
even last
really
season
has.
at Empoli, it was very good as well.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Before we get into anything, a massive shout out goes to our media partners in Benevo Bid. Check out our link in bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match issued kits. Most of the proceeds go to charity, so you'll be sporting some sick merch whilst also giving back to a good cause. If you don't want any for yourself, tell your girlfriends, tell your wives, tell your boyfriends, tell your husbands, and they'll get you one for a special occasion, because what better gift to give a football lover than signed merch?
Yeah. And it's an appreciating asset, remember.
Exactly.
It will increase in value.
Bravo. It's just throwing in the selling points.
Of course. Let them know.
If you're new here, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the show grow, and it really helps us improve the quality. There's some things that we really want to improve, and we'll be making the right investment to do so. Your help is always appreciated. If you really love us, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll really be helping us out there, and you can win a free kit of your choice if you win our fantasy league. With some more information about that coming soon.
And an update from our end regarding equipment. We will be investing in some better equipment just to improve the quality of the show. So do keep an eye out in the coming weeks for any changes you might hear.
Absolutely, and your feedback is very much appreciated. As always, if you guys are new here, we do weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week. We are the only English-speaking Serie A podcast that cover all 20 teams in the league. We also have a weekly segment called Tactics Imperium, where our football analyst, John Leah, hops in and does 10 minutes on just a team or a fixture that caught his eye, and he'll run you through the tactics over there to keep you guys nice and educated and maybe allow you to watch football from a different lens.
Absolutely, bro. Shall we kick this off?
How's our fantasy doing?
Oh, yes. So, first of all...
I didn't do badly. I think I got like 73.5 points.
Yes, I did terribly. Classic, obviously. I do have Nico Paz, which is nice, but I am 30th right now with 67.5 points out of 40 teams. Currently in first we have Tyson with Salah perché ti amo. Lotito vendere vattene, obviously David Mastrobattista is second with 83 points, tied with MRN, not sure who that is, but MRN, reveal yourself please.
Yes, please.
Brandon's in fourth, and Dre is in fifth. Yeah, so
amazing.
It's all tight at the top already. You are...
I think I'm like...
What's your team name?
What is my team name?
The producer.
Zanetti's asshole.
You're 18th.
I'm 18th. Super.
Nick is 25th. Very nice, Nick.
Congratulations.
Good start.
Give us a scream, Nick. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And shout out to our new patrons. We have Domenico Rella. I'm not sure if we've given him a shout out. Worst case you get to. GBOC and Sha Maun. Okay, thank you very much for your support. They've joined the Discord. One of them has also joined the Fantasy League. Guys, you can join the Fantasy League at any point, by the way, it turns out. you'll just be behind on points if you join very late, of course.
Exactly, but what a story that
Yeah.
would be if you come in late and you win the free kit. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And if you lose, you don't owe us anything. So
Yeah.
just join and
Yeah.
have fun and maybe win a free kit.
Yeah,
Shall
absolutely.
we jump in, bro?
Yes.
Your game is first, and it's Sassuolo Napoli.
Yes, Sassuolo Napoli, of course, last season's champions, kick off the 2025-26 season against Serie B champions in Fabio Grosso's Sassuolo. Now,
So essentially a super cup. This is like a super cup.
essentially, it's true. Sassuolo lined up in a 4-3-3 formation with Turati in goal. Valukovic was the right back and Josh Doig was the left back, with Romagna and Muharemovic playing at the back. Muharemovic is a standout performer, a young centre back, had a very good season.
He's
in
very tall,
Serie B.
Muharemovic, if I'm not
Yes, I
mistaken.
believe he's quite tall. I don't know the exact metrics of his height.
He's
but-
187 centimeters.
Okay.
Quite tall.
They also have Kande and Itzes just gearing up to get going. New boy Kone played in midfield along with Lipani and Boloca. Berardi was out on the right, Loriente was on the left, and Pinamonti started up front. For Napoli, it was, don't even try to guess what formation it was. We'll go with what it says here and then I'll elaborate later. It's a 4-1-4-1 in theory, with Meret in goal. Quivering at the sight of Vania just sitting at the edge of his seat on the bench, just rocking and frothing at the mouth. Di Lorenzo was on the right, Oliveira on the left, with Juan Jesus and Rahmani at the back. Lobotka was playing right in front of the defense, with McTominay on the left, Politano on the right, De Bruyne and Anguissa in the middle, and Lorenzo Lucca up front, covering for the injured Lukaku. Of course, it only took 17 minutes for last season's MVP to open the scoring with a lovely header off of Politano's cross. Napoli looked comfortable and they didn't concede many chances. And then in the 57th minute, it was De Bruyne who got his first goal for Napoli on his debut. Not exactly how he would have imagined it, to be honest. The cross was just too high for Lorenzo Lucca, who was rising, but it was perfect, aimed at the far post. To the point that Turati couldn't have committed, because had he committed, he would have left a massive gap for Lucca to dunk into. So it
That
just
and-
bounced into the back of the net.
Yeah, that, and we also know that handling crosses and decision making isn't exactly Turati's forte. We always say he's great on the line at shot stopping, but commanding his areas and area he's still growing at. He's a very young goalkeeper.
Absolutely, yes. In the 79th minute, Kone got a second yellow card for a reckless challenge on Lucca. He clearly got the ball, but there was just
Too much
damage on the follow-through for the ref's liking. And perhaps the game really is gone.
Maybe.
Yeah. Back in the day, good tackle!
literally. But it's the follow through, right?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous entry by him.
Exactly, so it's a Serie A debut to forget for him. It was a comfortable victory for Napoli. Politano and McTominay hit the post too. McTominay quite sensationally, to be honest, with a curler from out of the box, and Politano with a bit of a clumsy effort that ended up hitting off the post, and Lucca had kind of a half chance to tap it in, but he didn't quite get to it.
A good game by Politano, who of course hit the post and also assisted the opener by McTominay. He's just one of those guys, that you think, new look Napoli, new season, new Napoli, but he's a guy that has kept so many people out of the team, and he's just old reliable, just always
Absolutely.
there on the right hand side with one of the most lethal left foots in Serie A.
Exactly, and the way Conte set out to play, he had the right side that was totally dominant over the left. Nothing went through the left, so everything went through Politano and Di Lorenzo. And McTominay essentially was working as kind of an inverted winger, if you'd even call him that.
He was almost like a mezzala.
Yeah.
really.
They essentially played with four midfielders, and it worked. In fact, I have a bit of a tactical breakdown we can get into.
Huge.
So the formation is not rigid at all. It wasn't really a 4-3-3, it wasn't a 4-1-4-1, it was kind of like an asymmetrical 4-4-2, 3-4-3 hybrid, with McTominay as the second striker at times. The structure constantly shifted depending on the phases of play. So the build-up was varied, sometimes with three pure defenders, and Oliveira joining and tucking in with Juan Jesus and Rahmani. And the fullbacks would sometimes push high, and De Bruyne would even provide width sometimes, but De Bruyne operated everywhere. He dropped deep, he moved wide, he acted as a second striker as well, and they attacked in many different shapes, often resembling a 3-4-3, but never in a rigid form that we we have many memories of Conte using a very rigid three at the back system. This
Mhm.
is completely different to that.
No, it's very very different, and I think this is one of the more periods where we're seeing almost like the best football Conte has been making a team play, because we've seen again definitely the most entertaining, because you see them, they attack in numbers, they attack in various different ways, they have various different weapons in that sense. Whereas before they were a bit more of a counter-attacking side and a bit more of a rigid side, like you're saying. So this is almost like Conte's peak from what I'm seeing. Man.
He's evolving, man, and you can see he got new weapons, and he's already shifted the team to suit them. You know, he's not just plugging them in. Replacing players who won him the league with the new arrivals. That's what's really cool as well. He kept the three most important midfielders there, and he added De Bruyne to complement them, which is not what many coaches would have done. In defense, funny to see them tucking into a 5 at the back with Politano playing essentially fullback. Politano, man, has got so much of my respect. He's such a hard worker. He doesn't stop.
I think he's so versatile in the sense that the amount of different things he can do. Because the thing is, you see players that can whip in a cross, and you see players who are all about tira, gira, and have a dangerous left foot. But with that work ethic, the amount of ground that he covers going up and down, and covering for Di Lorenzo as well, it's admirable. He is literally a company man, and whatever he's instructed to do, he will do it, and 10% more.
Absolutely. So, De Bruyne's role, by the way, in this team is being called a tuttocampista by the media.
Like an everything midfielder.
An all-purpose player, essentially. Just a few stats I pulled out here from... Because his performance wasn't exactly sensational, but it was good. 3 shots, 3 key passes, the most in the match, 5 through balls, 2 of them successful, plus a free kick goal. That's not a bad debut at all, considering people were calling him McBurger King or the Burger King, whatever. McTominay, of course, scoring, that's pretty cool. And then he had a very cool moment on the sideline after he was subbed out, where he's just lying on the floor, totally chill, watching the game.
Aura farming.
Yeah, just it's crazy to see how he has evolved even in appearance since his United days. Sorry to say, Nick, but he looks much healthier, much more confident. He has a splash of sex appeal about him nowadays, doesn't he?
It depresses me genuinely.
That's all McTominay needed, a bit of Mediterranean in him, you know what I mean?
That's it, just the sun,
Exactly, some dolce far niente.
Yeah. Also, an extra little detail, Oliveira's task this game was to man-mark Berardi, and we don't see that very often nowadays. He just followed him all game. That's it.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I thought Napoli were solid. I thought Sassuolo didn't really have time to do anything. I think Berardi had one chance at one point, but in reality, they played them off the pitch in their own stadium.
I mean, it's the hardest return to Serie A that a team could have, no? Playing against the defending champions, not only the defending champions, because we've seen defending champions flopped, but Antonio Conte's defending champions that have invested heavily in improving the team and adding depth. I think they were played out of the park. I don't think they had a chance in hell. I think we'll see a lot more from Sassuolo. I think they will impress us, because Sassuolo are a Serie A team. They've proven that to us from having 11 successful years in Serie A before getting relegated and then immediately popping back up. So we'll definitely see better from them. Napoli, I'm expecting this to be them for the majority of the season. Of course, playing a newly promoted side over here at the end of the day still. But now they have 3 competitions that they're going to be taking part in, of course, with the Champions League. And I'm really interested to see what kind of push they can go for over there.
Same here, man. They look really difficult to play against. It's such a compact team, man. When they're off the ball, like how are you meant to get through that team?
Crowd the midfield. They crowded the midfield so much. Like,
and even Lorenzo Lucca was the first line of defense of the ball. I mean, you look at his numbers statistically, and you'd think that he was the worst performer on the pitch, but in reality, he drew the second yellow. He had the header, which he missed. Granted, it was just too high for him, that threw Turati off. He had a lot of influence. Plus, the way he was laying off the ball to certain strikers and holding up the ball up pitch was pretty good. I was impressed by him.
And you know what? I don't hate Napoli going for Højlund. I don't hate that, because if there's one thing Højlund has, it's grinta, and it's a work ethic off the ball. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, because you watch Hoyland often. But he might actually be preferred to Luka for that reason, because he gives you a lot of industry and a lot of pressing. Now, there are good couple of strikers to interchange, because you could bring in Højlund if you want to maintain a victory, and you can bring in Luka if you're looking for a goal, for example, and you can start either depending on your opponents, really.
That's it. If you're gonna do a whole lot of defending, it might be start to play someone like Højlund, who you can, who thrives with a ball off the top, over a long ball. Whereas if you're playing against a low block, where you just need to cross the ball into the box, Luka's perfect, and even in build-up play, Luka is very good at that.
Yes, sir.
So very entertaining opening game. Napoli in business again. Huh? Of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves and overinterpret every single game. But if there's one takeaway from this game, it's that Conte shows signs of being very dynamic and fluid and tactically unpredictable this season.
Absolutely. I think that's the name of this episode. The name of this episode is Matchday 1, as you can see. But it's also... It's really easy to get carried away after being deprived of football for so long throughout the summer. I think watching a few games, like the next one, which we'll be discussing, Milan 1, Cremonese 2. Milan starting the season off with a loss. Napoli started the season off with a loss last season. It's good not to get carried away from both sides of the lens. But this was Allegri's first game on the bench for Milan, first official game on the bench for Milan. Of course, he was banned for the Bari game the weekend before against Davide Nicola's Cremonese. Allegri lined up in a 3-5-2 formation. Mike Maignan, the captain, in goal, with a backline of Pavlovic, Gabbia and Tomori. Salemakers was out on the right and Estupinian was out on the left, with a midfield three of Fofana, Modric, Loftus-Cheek. And two up top in Pulisic and Santi Jimenez. Like for like, 3-5-2 formation for Nicola's men, with Audero on goal and a backline of Terracciano, Baschirotto and Bianchetti. Of course, Terracciano and Bondo are on loan at Cremonese from Milan. Zerbin out on the right, Pezzella out on the left, with a midfield three of Colo-Colo, Grassi and Van de Putte, with Okereke and Bonazzoli up front together. So the game started off with both sides feeling each other out a little bit. In the 28th minute, the unmarked Baschirotto headed in a Zerbin cross. Completely unmarked Baschirotto, he slotted in perfectly between, I believe it was Gabbia and Pavlovic. Absolutely no one picked him up over there, and he flexed in celebration. In the 45th minute, on the stroke of halftime, Pavlovic headed in an Estupinian cross with Zerbin down in pain after Salamakers won the ball off him. And there I was like, okay, Milan are going to get back into it, and Milan are going to win in the second half. We've seen Milan do this last season, all season really, last season. Estupinian did come off because he had a very poor first half apart from that assist. But in the 61st minute, Bonazzoli scored a sensational bicycle kick. Again, completely unmarked. This time I think it was either Fofana or Pavlovic.
So it was Fofana who was marking him originally. But then he ended up kind of with Jimenez off balance in front of him, and Pavlovic the closest defender towards him. But I believe it was Fofana's responsibility there.
Yeah. So Cremonese scored that goal and saw out the rest of the game to get a 2-1 win. Huge victory, historic victory for Cremonese. I believe that's the first time they've ever won in San Siro. And when we saw them most recently in Serie A, they really struggled for victories. Here, they just came in. Everyone, apart from me, has them relegated. And they came in, and it was a huge statement from them, of course, super early days, but a huge statement for Cremonese, and I do want to give them their flowers. I think Nicola set the team up perfectly. It was a compact 5-3-2. It was disciplined, but the second they smelt they smelt an opportunity, or where they saw space, they were very street smart, and they went for it, and they attacked that space quite fearlessly as well. I think Baschirotto looked really good. He kept Jimenez out of the game completely. Does that say more about Baschirotto or more about Jimenez? I don't know, but it was a superb performance by Baschirotto. He was involved he scored the opener, and he got the hockey assist for the second goal as well. Bonazzoli's goal will already be goal of the season contender as well. So there's a lot of positives to work with here for Cremonese.
Absolutely, no. Cremonese had a dream game. No, I mean, the whole team showed up. The midfield was hard working and compact. Okereke and Bonazzoli sacrificed a lot for each other. The wingers in Zerbin and Pezzella gave their all. And Baschirotto just really stepped up and put in a heroic performance. And I bet Lecce would have been watching that in regret, and Lecce fans especially, because you let a player like Baschirotto go to another relegation-threatened team, to a direct rival. And then he steps up and does that against Milan, where he gets a hockey assist on a goal and scores another one. Not to mention shutting out the striker for the whole game. It's a massive performance.
Yeah, and I think this is his 4th season in a row in Serie A, and I think his opening season was sensational. Second and third season, people speak about them less because he had less goal contributions, but he was always a really solid figure. And this is his 4th season now, and he's really maintained that standard of just being a really tough defender for strikers to play against, particularly target men. I think if you're nimble and you move around and you're a bit of a Lautaro Martinez, you have a great chance against Baschirotto, because there's no way he's keeping up with your movement. But if you're a Thuram of sorts, if you're a Jimenez of sorts, who's a bit more of a target man, then it might be tough, because you've got a 92 kilo beast just ripping at you consistently.
Absolutely. And also, by the way, the depth that Cremonese demonstrated was actually pretty good as well. Bringing on Bondo, who's been in Serie A for a while, Paiero as well from Udinese, Sanabria as well, who's been around. He was at Torino, Ceccherini, De Luca. These are players who have quite a lot of experience as well.
And a good combination of youth and a good combination of Serie A experience, which a lot of newly promoted teams like Venezia last season and last time they were promoted, they make the mistake of not hiring Serie A experience. But Zerbin, for example, and Pezzella, Bonazzoli, Baschirotto, Audero, and then Terracciano. These are the guys you need in your team. Who have a chip on their shoulder, have something to prove, and then build it around youth. So there's Van de Putte, etc., etc. You get the gist. But Cremonese did come up with the same old Milan problems, really. Milan, to me, looked like a side exactly as they were last season, with the same shortcomings that they had last season, where it was like clueless on the ball. I think what we saw was a squad, the way that it was set up, just downgraded, really, because Allegri feared setting up his best midfield. Not starting Ricci was a shout. Not playing Ricci at all. Not giving him a single minute. Bringing on Yashari so late. I think going for Fofana and Loftus-Cheek when they were there last season and giving Modric all that time on the pitch was a mistake. And I don't think he spotted that mistake, and I don't think he tried to address that mistake in game with the 3 substitutions he made. If you're losing 2-1 to Cremonese from the 61st minute, make some more substitutions. It's clearly not going your way. It did bother me. But what I'm hoping is that he saw the kind of performances that Loftus-Cheek and Fofana put in, and he can say, okay, tried. Now I'm going to play Ricci, I'm going to play Modric, and I'm going to play Yashari. Milan are playing once a week. Once a week. They need to play their best players. It's as simple as that. You can't have 60 million investments rotting on the bench.
If these guys were who Allegri fielded, probably they were in the best condition. Let's remember that Ricci and Yashari have just arrived, particularly Yashari. He barely
played all pre-season.
He did. Ricci played all pre-season. That was the most surprising thing in my opinion. But then you could take into consideration maybe the fact that he might have thought that the backline didn't need as much marshalling and that you could get away with testing Modric in that role in this game. I don't know. I thought that the midfield was extremely unimaginative with Fofana and Loftus-Cheek. At first, I did like what I saw because there was one flick on, I think, by Loftus-Cheek that looked pretty good. Then I realized that it was a training ground routine and he was doing it every time, over and over again, and missing like 3/4 of them. And it was very, very frustrating. this is what I meant in the previous episode where I said let's not get too ahead of ourselves because the team still needs some work. Like, there was no solution in attack. Leao was out, injured, and Jimenez was the only striking option available. The season has started and Milan have one striker. You know, that's not an ideal situation. Now they were looking at a guy called Harder and he made me hella softer. Never heard of Harder in my life. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. You know, Boniface fell through.
Let's just give a bit of an update there for those that don't know. Boniface landed in Milano, and he did his they did 3 medicals in Milano. So he arrived at Milan, everyone losing their shit, Twitter blowing up saying this is the greatest signing Milan have made in the past 10 years. Like, and I'm like, hasn't this guy had 2 ACLs and a terrible adductor injury that kept him out for the majority of last season? Surprisingly, even though his knee does look like he should be in a cane, really, because it has shit popping out from it, bro. It's insane. So that fell through. I think he should have done the medical elsewhere. You know, he arrives at the airport, fans are all there, goes to Casa Milan, this and that. It was
just
quite
part
weird.
of it,
Yeah. And then Milan, up until this morning, we're recording this on the 26th of August in the evening. This morning it looked like Harder was really close to going through. This is a substitute striker for Sporting Lisbon. However, now it looks like Tare, Milan and Allegri want Vlahovic again. Vlahovic was scored in the opening game of the season, of course, a lot to say about him. But basically, as always, it's too late. It's too late, and starting a season in this way is not ideal. It can be turned around. Leao will be back. I think Allegri will learn from his mistakes. The lack of investment in defense really showed.
The lack of investment in defense showed painfully, man. You look at Gabbia was trying his hardest to hold Pavlovic and Tomori's individual brain cells together.
You can't play them together. I always say
they're too erratic, and we saw what we kept seeing last season, right? One long ball and the midfield is gone, and you're one-on-one against these defenders who panic in reality. I mean, you know, I'm confident that Allegri will make these guys better, but it's going to take some time. You know, it's not going to happen from the get-go. That's why I'm surprised he didn't play a midfield to kind of marshal the defense and protect them. I think this formation doesn't get the best out of Pulisic, and it showed. Leao also really empowers Pulisic, and it helps a lot. But it just goes to show that starting the season without Leao and with Jimenez as the only option up front was not enough for Milan, and it's crucial that Milan invest in a striker, and I mean, ideally a defender, and apparently Allegri has requested a midfielder who scores. Like, are you taking the piss after losing grinders? Exactly.
70 million.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But whatever.
What the hell? I think there's a lot of players that you could point out individually and try to scapegoat. I won't be doing that. I will mention them just because, you know, they are under fire at the moment. Of course, Estupinian, he was subbed out at halftime because he lost the ball so much.
Yeah, he was really clumsy.
Really lost the ball so much. I think his assist was good and it showed a good sign in the final third. The person he assisted to, Pavlovic, great in the final third. Everywhere else, erratic. Really, I don't like the way he enters challenges. He almost enters with his head.
Clumsy.
Where he, like that Boris Johnson clip where he takes out someone on the football pitch, entering with his head. That's the way Pavlovic played. I think he's the kind of player that he has so many good attributes and so many characteristics that if someone can solidify his talent defensively, he can be a really, really good player. He could be a bit of a cheat code. He could be one of those. So it's Pavlovic, Estupinian. I thought Fofana was goddamn fucking awful, straight up. I thought Loftus-Cheek was better than Fofana.
Yes,
I thought Fofana was terrible.
Just pisses me off shooting from everywhere.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't work a few times, stop. And secondly, I'm seeing people saying Fofana isn't capable going forward. I will correct you and say last season Fofana had like 8 assists.
Yeah, no,
and he does have defense splitting passes. This just wasn't the game for that because you're playing a pragmatic Cremonese. Santi Jimenez, I am now hearing that he is not a striker of Milan's caliber. I will say give Santi some more time. I think his agent spoke out now and said he's going nowhere. He's really come into an unsettled environment, and Milan fans need to get behind this guy, and Allegri needs to get behind this guy, because now in the opening game of the season he was pocketed by Baschirotto.
Yeah.
The guy needs some support, man.
He needs confidence, and it's been the case since he arrived. But it's funny to see the media what they're reporting. Milan will not be selling Santi Jimenez. Like, how is that even being reported? Milan should be buying a striker. You're telling me they're not going to sell their only one?
How silly! How silly! But but would you be surprised? We will see how Milan will line up next week. I wouldn't be surprised if Milan have bloody Vlahovic by the end of this week. Just 2 more things and we can move on. Firstly, just to reiterate how shit Milan were going forward, there are 24 shots, and I believe only 5 of them were on target. Why doesn't this have on target stats? Whatever. Expected goals of 1.88, 64% ball possession. Cremonese had expected goals of 0.21. They had 4 shots in total.
Milan 6 shots on target.
Thank you. And Jake, I just want to grab your quick thoughts on the Curva Sud strike, and we can move on, because I watched most games this weekend, and it was so good having Serie A back, and Como fans going mental, Napoli fans going mental, even Inter fans with a similar situation, with their Curva going mental. By the way, 2 games at San Siro this weekend, Milan at home, Inter at home. It was the first time that happened in eons. But so many teams were supported, and Milan weren't one of them because of this Curva strike. You want to just like...
So what I know about it is that certain banners are banned from the stadium now. I'm talking about banners that represent Nordal, Baresi. They represent the different sectors in the Curva Sud, because the Curva Sud is a collective group, but it has 20 individual groups in it, apparently, who are all different and do not necessarily follow the same principles or behave in the same way. You know what I mean?
Multiple group chats.
Yeah, imagine that. I'm not so sure what the protest is totally about, to be honest, but they feel like they're being targeted by the management of Milan, probably for banning. I do believe individuals were banned as well from the stadium.
Like some problematic groups or individuals, and I think some sort of funding on these banners were cut. Or something.
Leaders were banned from the stadium. They're not allowed to have any role whatsoever with the fans and the display of historic banners. That's quite lame, I think, to be honest. Like, if there's a banner of Nordal or a banner of Baresi, that's the history of the club. The history of the club. Where else are you going to see Nordal anywhere?
Exactly.
It's cool that there's a banner of Nordal at the stadium.
And I think the politicifying it, that's a fucking word, Jesus, is bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that the management, I won't say exactly who's at fault. I know that certain members can be problematic. There are some things that I wouldn't be happy about when I'm watching, but one thing that I'm happy when watching Milan is having the Curva. I think the management doesn't like the vendere vattene, the chants, the protests. So I think they're trying to find little excuses here and there to shun these guys.
And obviously...
But Milan need them, bro.
Of course. I mean, there are criminals in these groups, and that should be left into the hands of the authorities, not the hands of the board. But yes, this is what you get, and then you get a packed San Siro, but it's just not the same. There's no spirit in the air.
Zero.
It's true.
What I said, that I don't like certain things. It's more like when Milan won the league and the players the fans rushed the pitch at the Mappe against Sassuolo, and they were slapping everyone on the head because they rushed the pitch. What the fuck are you? If I would have been dead if that happened, because if one of them slapped me in the head when I was celebrating Milan's first fucking Serie A win since 2011. And this guy's gonna slap me in the head. He's on the pitch as well. He's gonna slap me in the head.
He's not on the pitch. He's waiting for people to re-enter the stands. They were on the stand.
How respectful they are. Come on, man. That's the seniority bullshit.
Yeah, I liked the open-handed nature of the slaps, though.
No, I didn't like the assault, man. I didn't like the assault on 15-year-old kids running onto the pitch because the first time they saw Milan win the league, slapping them. Idiots.
But anyway, let's move on to the next game. Unless there's anything you want to add.
No, that's it, brother.
So the next one we'll be talking about is Roma 1, Bologna 0. This was Roma's first challenge under Gasperini to host Italiano's vicious Bologna. Quite the challenge for Gasperini on his 600th match as a manager. Yeah.
Christ on a bike.
So he lined up in a 3-4-2-1 formation with Zvilar in goal, Hermoso, Mancini and Indica at the back, with Wesley on the right, Angelino on the left, Cristante and Kone in the middle, with Sule and El Shaarawy playing off the shoulder of new boy Evan Ferguson. Of course, please note that Wesley is also a new arrival and that El Shaarawy was wearing the captain's armband.
I really wasn't expecting to see El Shaarawy there. I
Right.
really wasn't.
Right, but he's his industrious self.
Yeah.
Puts in a shift every time. For Bologna, it was a 4-2-3-1, the Italiano classic, with Skorupski in goal. Veteran De Silvestri got the start on the right with Lico Giannis on the left. Lukumi and Casale started at the back with Pobega and Freuler in the double pivot. Cambiaghi and Orsolini played on the wings with Odgaard playing behind Ciro Immobile. Now, this is one of the older teams of the match. I don't know if you want to pull up the average age. I believe it's like 29 or something, but it should say somewhere there.
So
age.
the average age of the team is 29.8 years.
Yeah, on the
Christ
older
on a
side,
bike.
of course, with Lico
Skorupski's
Giannis
34,
and De Silvestri and
Silvestri
Skorupski.
37.
Yeah, and Roma played with intensity in the first half. They pressed high, they dominated the wings. Bologna struggled to create chances. Roma got close on a few occasions, especially through Cristante's header, which hit the post off of Sule's cross, and Ferguson had a few attempts as well, really inserting himself dangerously. Ferguson, he looked really hungry.
He looked like a
Attacking
real all-round, just a
striker,
center forward. Like.
And sometimes it come out of nowhere. Like there was a header at one point, he came out of absolutely nowhere.
I like
just
him, man.
missed the target.
I'm hyped about this guy.
Roma's play was dynamic. Kone broke the lines. He had a fantastic display, and Angelino and Wesley pushed wide. In the final third, though, in the first half, combinations were lacking. There was a bit of a tragic subplot, of course, as Ciro Immobile on his return to the Olimpico, where he previously represented Lazio, as we know. He had been training really well coming onto this game, and he was eager to get back in action in Serie A. Italiano was praising him and his work ethic. He started off this game full of life. He was running, stretching, pressing and committing. His work rate and energy really impressed me.
Yeah.
He even set up Orsolini for a goal that would have been ruled out for a very obvious offside. I mean, Immobile got way too ahead of himself in the run. But 30 minutes in, he was chasing a long ball and he pulled up, holding above his knee, his quad, whatever.
That's what you risk, though.
Yeah. And he was subbed out with frustration in his face and anger in his eyes. And Italiano has recently said that it's not a serious injury, but the verdict has come back and he's out for 2 months.
Yeah, it sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, pretty
35-year-old
serious.
out for 2 months is never ideal.
Absolutely.
I was surprised he started.
Same here, to be honest. But I think Italiano wanted to kind of put him up there to work for him and to focus on serving him.
He also had an incredible stat of opening day goals, no Ciro Immobile. So maybe a bit of what do you call it by Italiano.
A bit of superstition. He did have a good record, eh?
He
I remember him.
absolutely did.
I remember him
Find
flooring
it.
Koulibaly once on opening day. Yeah. I mean, this is the Ciro Immobile. 350 games, 201 goals. That places him in 8th all time when it comes to top scorers in Serie A, by the way. Yeah. I mean, ahead of him, he has... Where is it? So he scored 201. Di Natale. No, Roberto Baggio is ahead of him with 205 goals. So he technically can catch up to Baggio this season.
Yeah.
Then you have Di Natale with 209. Altafini and Meazza with 216. Nordal with 225. Totti with 250. And the record holder, of course, is Silvio Piola with 274.
Yep. Not to be confused with Stefano Pioli, of course.
Yeah. You were looking for the Sato or fuck that?
Fuck that. To be honest, there's no particular record that he has. He just has a knack for scoring on opening day goals.
Yes, so then Casale suffered an injury as well and was taken out. And in the second half, Roma switched to a 3-5-2 formation after El Ainawi replaced El Shaarawy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tongue twister.
Tongue twister right there. Castro came on and he also looked ferocious. He was the one who replaced Ciro Immobile. He struck the crossbar from a very difficult angle, hitting it with a very interesting technique. Wesley and then scored the decisive goal from the right flank after a lofted ball by Cristante over the top. Was taken down nicely. This would be the 53rd minute. He kind of got himself in a position where Lukumi kind of threw himself awkwardly in front of him and ended up playing a through ball to him, where he finished the ball and rolled on the floor about 3 times in the process before running off in celebration. Good goal by Wesley and a very good performance in my opinion.
I think it was a really good debut by Wesley. I think he has to give these performances because he's a wing back in a Gasperini system, and those guys are harder working than who are notoriously really hard working people. Just as a comparison, firemen.
They
These
were
are harder working people than
Than
firemen.
firemen,
You have to be. If you're a Gasperini wing back, you're the hardest working person in the world.
I thought you were asking about the nationality, bro.
No, hey, we can get risky over there. Wesley, there was a curiosity, right? Because he came straight from a South American league, not exactly a European standard league, right? And Wesley has a story like that. There's a whole story behind him. He quit football at 20 during COVID. I believe it was his sister that urged him to continue. I read it somewhere. But now his Roma debut, he scores on his debut in front of the supporters at the Stadio Olimpico. And to me, this Roma team, like, you could just tell that they were managed by Gasperini. The way that they played, with the amount of spirit and the dynamism, the intensity, the dynamism, and the work rate on Evan Ferguson up there as well, absolutely covering every blade of grass up there, making sure he gets to the ball before any defender. I really like these early signs from Roma. The question about Gasperini is it a spell? Is it going to be consistent?
And what happens when things don't go well? Because I think there were certain things that he got away with at Atalanta because he made the club relevant in reality. You know, he brought the club to this current level, so he could get away with throwing certain players under the bus or making certain comments. He won't get away with that in Rome, so we do need to keep an eye on the situation. I didn't finish the rundown. I have a habit of bringing up talking points halfway through, but shortly after Wesley's goal, Kone missed a sitter, to be honest. He was played a ball. He should have taken it on first time. He took a touch and then he missed the target completely. So in reality, it was 2 misses in one. A big miss by Kone despite having a brilliant game.
Down to 35 million, so now Kone.
Roma then sat deeper while Bologna improved with their substitutions but couldn't find an equalizer. But yes, I liked Roma. I was a little bit disappointed by Bologna, to be honest.
I was very disappointed by Bologna. And what scares me is that I had the thought, and I brought it up in our predictions episode, where I said they've lost players. They lost someone like Dan Ndoye, and they lost someone like Beukema, and I don't think they replaced them completely adequately, man. Now, of course, they already have wingers that they can play in place of Ndoye, like Benji Dominguez and Cambiaghi, who started this game. Of course, there's Chazal, who could play instead of Beukema, but they're not really of the same quality and caliber. And I feared that they might not be able to be that direct vertical pressing unit that they were, especially because of the loss of Ndoye, which is a huge loss. It's a huge loss in my opinion. And this opening game, of course, against a Roma at the Stadio Olimpico, proved my points right, proved what I thought right. Now, I hope that it was just the occasion, and I hope it was just the first game with all the pressure on, blah, blah, blah. I do think Bologna are better than that, but they definitely didn't show it in this game. But there's a team in there, of course, Italiano.
Castro did show good signs when he came on, so at least they have him to cover for Immobile. However,
cover for Immobile should cover for Castro. Castro is he was excellent last season. He's their present and future, you know.
Yes, but I think obviously with Ciro Immobile, you're bringing in a leader, you're bringing in one of the all-time top scorers in Italy. So I think he wanted to kind of maybe rotate them depending on the matchup. I don't know, but I think that for Italiano, Immobile was a key piece to this team. Clearly, he started them from the get-go. Vitek was forced into his debut very early on because of a Casale injury, and that we might see him next week as well because Casale will be out. And Zortea came on in the 72nd, whereas Bernardeschi came on in the 80th. So they do have some players who are slowly being integrated. So more to come from Bologna. We'll keep an eye out.
Zortea is a great signing, and I expect to see a lot more from him down the right-hand side, especially as, if it weren't for Immobile's injury, I'd be expecting Italiano to try out a few new formations, maybe with 2 strikers, like a 3-5-2 or something like that. And in those situations, even though you'd have to see what you're going to do with Orsolini in that case, Zortea could really slot into a right wing back position. I don't think
maybe like a 3-4-3 or something
at the back anytime
but I can't see it because he likes a 3-man midfield. But
absolutely.
Shall we move on?
We shall move on, and we shall move on to Inter's absolute spanking of Torino. This was Kivu's debut and Baroni's debut. Of course, so many managerial changes at the start of the season, as it was last season as well. 3-5-2 formation for Inter with Sommer in goal, a backline of Bastonia, Cerbi and Pavard, left wing back DeMarco, right wing back Dumfries, midfield trio of Mkhitaryan, Barella and Sucic. Çalhanoğlu was suspended for this game, as well as Francesco Pio Esposito. Lautaro Martinez and Thuram up front together, so only one new face in this side, and that was Sucic. For Torino, Baroni's meant was a 4-3-3 formation with Israel in goal.
His name is F. Israel.
Hey! Don't do anything.
Somewhere Tim is fucking freaking out. Politics!
He's really unfortunate to have this name. He must get this a lot. Let's be professional and just call him.
He had an amazing save at one point.
Yeah, that brilliant save on a Cerbi header, bro. Let's be respectful to him because God knows how much he gets this. Israel. Israel in goal, a backline of Lazaro, Coco, Mazina and Biraghi. A midfield three of Casadei, Ilkan and Ginetis. And a front three of Ingonj and Vlasic, who flanked Giovanni Simeone. Got a debut start over here. Inter opened the scoring through a corner where Bastoni headed in Barella delivery. This was in the 18th minute. Moments after, in the 35th, Sucic threaded a perfect ball for Thuram, who fired low across goal to double the lead. This is where Ginetis gave the ball away in the 52nd, and then Lautaro punished a weak Mazina back pass. Another mistake by Torino. That's the second one over here. And then the 62nd, Bastoni turned provider. He swung in a brilliant cross. Just gave him way too much time on the edge of the area. And it was a brilliant cross to the far post where Biraghi was marking Thuram.
Yeah.
Doesn't really sound like a plan. And in the 72nd minute on his debut, Boni pounced after more sloppy Torino defending. This time it was Israel's rash pass that was not controlled by Tamez, but Boni finished off brilliantly. I do want to say it was a devastating performance by Inter. They devastated their opponents. It was a much more direct Inter that we're used to. I thought Sucic was brilliant, that he slotted him brilliantly into that midfield. It's like he's been playing there for years. The team looked revitalized. I think they looked a little bit different, and I like the way their midfield was operating, how they were shifting positions and relying on each other. One thing I do have to say is 3 goals were absolutely gifted to them. Of course, they were putting on the pressure on their opponents to be able to create that kind of tension and to force them into errors. But some mistakes I saw from Torino, man, Torino were awful. Torino, to me, were the big doo-doo heads of this opening match day. Torino, you are the big doo-doo heads of the opening match day. Baroni is the big doo-doo head. Another devastating loss to Inter, one that surprisingly didn't get him the sack at Lazio, and now on his opening day at Torino. Poor guy. Played Inter immediately.
That was like 5 or 6-0 for Lazio.
Yeah, I think it was 6.
Inter, yeah.
I think it was 6. But,
yeah,
but
it was a total collapse, and he insisted
Complete
that
nightmare.
this game. He insisted on playing out the back till the very end.
And
That
it's
must have been an
so
instruction.
silly because Inter were pressing so
Yeah.
high, so high. They were just getting the ball back from them. Like that's insanity, no? When you
Yeah.
keep trying to do the same thing and you keep getting screwed by your opposition.
Yeah.
Just the same formula over and over. And that's the exact same thing we criticized Lazio for when they lost 6-0 to Inter. They
Yeah,
kept
they
trying
kept
to build
trying,
play
yeah.
out from the back. This is something that is wrong with Baroni, who
Yeah.
is typically a great coach, but when it comes to Inter, fuck man, he really led the team.
Yeah,
Well, they
maybe
all
there
let
are
each other down.
There are two coaches in the league right now who can't beat Inter.
Yeah, Pioli.
and apparently Baroni.
Exactly.
I did think, however, that Torino started off decently, and I liked how Ngonji looked at the beginning. He looked more like his old self at Hellas Verona, but then shit just hit the fan, and they couldn't turn the fan off, and now everything's covered in shit.
No, there's shit everywhere.
There's shit everywhere. Yeah.
I don't know why Aslani was nowhere to be
Yeah,
seen.
he was still in the process of joining.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Aslani is gonna be a massive upgrade for them because he is the kind of player that can come in deep and help.
Yeah.
At least the defenders, if they have no one to pass, so they pass it to Aslani and he's gonna figure it out. It's his role to do exactly that. But let's dive in a bit on Inter. It's an absolute dream start for them. I think the main thing over here is that so Thuram and Lautaro last season were almost never on form at the same time. It's like Lautaro blossomed late, Thuram blossomed early. Here they both scored on the opening day. Thuram 2, Lautaro 1, and that is an amazing start.
Absolutely, and Bonnie as well got one.
Exactly. So last season their problem was their sub-strikers were disastrous.
Yeah.
In Arnautovic, Taremi, and Correa.
Yeah.
And now they bring in two young bucks. They bring in Francesco Pio Esposito, who returns from loan, and they bring in Bonnie, who's a 20-year-old phenom, really.
Yeah.
And he comes in to replace Thuram, and he instantly gets a goal as well. Sucic as well, incredible. It was an incredibly clean performance by him,
Yes,
like he's been in that midfield for the past 4 years. Just
Yeah.
the way that he was working, the way he was flowing. So the big kind of not changes, but the two forwards, the change in midfield, and the sub striker all getting off to a fantastic start. Not to mention Bastoni, who scored the opener. He delivered the assist for Thuram's second as well. He marshaled the defense brilliantly on all fronts, individually and as a unit. No one could ask more from Inter in this game.
I think that this was an important victory, and the fashion in which they managed to do it is massive for them. It was important for them to kind of cement themselves and to shut out some of the noise that there was going on around Kivu. Because at the end of the day, they're still a very good team.
Mhm.
They're still probably the best team on paper in Serie A. And this wasn't even them at their best, because Çalhanoğlu wasn't even there technically. He's still meant to be the heart of this team in the middle.
We'll see.
You
but
know,
Sucic was
Sucic
excellent.
had a great game, so we'll see. And I'm not sure if this was more of Torino just being absolutely abysmal, or if Inter were just on a totally other level.
No, I thought Inter were dominant, but man, to crumble like that, there were like 3 of the goals that Inter had, 3 goals were complete disastrous passages of play by Torino where a defender gave the ball away.
Yeah.
3 of them. You want to know what the other 2 were? And one thing that is a massive, great sign, and something we knew Inter excelled at last season, and what Kivu is actually known for as well, and something that he did in his Parma days. Set pieces, man, and crosses, man. The opening goal was a set piece, of course, assisted by Barella.
Great header by
And the
Bastoni.
only, I believe it was the only corner that Barella took, because then Di Marco was on them, so it was really interesting. That must be something that Kivu is cooking. And then there was another dangerous corner which Acerbi headed, and Israel produced a phenomenal save.
Yeah.
And where was I going with this? Think. So that was and then the second goal was a cross where Bastoni had all the space in the world, might as well have been a set piece.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Inter scored two essentially
Like dead
crosses,
ball, yeah, situations.
almost
yeah,
dead ball situations. The others were absolutely gifted to them, but what makes a good team is, of course, off the ball to force a team into errors. Let's just say, boy, did Torino get forced into errors. They allowed themselves to get forced into errors because
Yeah.
they didn't learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing else to add from my end, brother.
Nothing from my end.
All right, so we can move on to Juventus. Juventus 2, Parma 0. This was a clean performance, and it threw shades of opening day about, what was it, it's more than a decade ago now, where there was the inaugural game for the Allianz Stadium that was also against Parma.
Okay.
Yes, this was an encouraging start to the season for Juve, even though they're entering the season with way less hype and fanfare compared to last season with Motta. You remember last season, everyone was like, the expectations were totally skewed and blown out of proportion. Now it's like Juve fans aren't sure where their team stands, how good they are.
Because it was from a very active Mercato to now a very quiet Mercato, right?
Exactly. On the other hand, Parma hate life right now because they spent 10 million on a guy called Friggin, and he blew his knee out in the first training session.
Jeez Louise,
yes, so he was unavailable. He's a striker. And Ondrejka, who helped them survive last season
because he turned into Maradona.
I think scored like 5 goals towards the end of the season, is out with a long-term injury as well. Not to mention that Hernani and Trabucci were also injured, while Bront Baloch and Abdoulaye Ndia were serving suspensions carried on from last season.
They sold Man, and they sold Bonnie, and they sold Leone, and they're just here. And Parma, we do what we want, and we think we're gonna stay up. And hire a 29-year-old manager.
Exactly. So this is how Juve lined up. 3-4-2-1 formation with Di Gregorio on goal and the flat back three of Gatti, Bremer, and Kelly. Kalulu was playing as a wing back with Cambiaso on the other side. Locatelli and Thuram were in the middle with Conceição and Yildiz flanking Jonathan David. For Parma,
I love how automatically whenever I read Jonathan David shout out, I just read it in Oli Fischer's
voice because of the times Milan were linked to.
Shout out Sempre Milan, but
Jonathan David.
Jonathan David. He was just the Ollie's answer for so many striker problems and the lack of depth when we only had Giroud and stuff was just sign Jonathan David. Signing everyone from Lille, just sign Jonathan David.
Yeah, literally shout out Sempre Milan. Suzuki was in goal in Parma's 3-4-2-1 formation with Valenti, Cercati and Del Prato at the back. Lovic was on the right, Valeri on the left with Keita and Bernabe in the middle. Almqvist and Ordonez flanked Pellegrino up front. Now, the return of Bremer, by the way, finally back in the competition, in competitive action after that knee injury that sidelined him since October, and he was gargantuan in this game. He was massive. He was fearless, spent some time on the floor as well. I thought he was injured, man. But a massive performance by him. He looked fearless. Yildiz, of course, set up both goals. He set up Jonathan David after some nice trickery out wide, cuts inside, and just lays it off to David, who was moving very intelligently. Until this point, it looked like the centre-backs were the most likely to score. Because they were playing a lot of crosses into the box, and the likes of Gatti and Bremer were rising for them. And that's the problem with someone like Jonathan David against a low block. You need intelligent movement.
Yeah.
And Yildiz's skill move over there bamboozled the defender and got himself some space where David thrives. David can run inside, pull the defender and score.
And not only Yildiz, but there's also on the other side Francisco Conceição,
who had a very good game.
Had a very good game, and he threatens. He's always threatening, and he always carries defenders with him because he's so active.
Yes.
So that helps Jonathan David, who, as a profile of a striker, I don't think he's much different to what they have with Vlahovic, really. It's not like they went for a Colomwani, who they're still really looking at, by the way. They're still trying to get that deal over the line. But Colomwani is better with his back towards goal, and then these guys are more finishers. That's an interesting
Absolutely.
thing now, right? To see if the Colomwani deal goes through and what does that mean for Vlahovic.
Exactly, because David is a fox in the box type of player.
He is.
And then there was a nice little 1-2 with Vlahovic from Yildiz right after, sorry, I forgot to mention Conceição's red card for Clark.
No, Cambiaso.
Sorry, Cambiaso, of course. Cambiaso's red card for decking a Parma player, for lashing out. This guy doesn't
For
learn,
being
does
a
he?
dillweed, man.
Yeah,
For being a dillweed. Because this is... this is a direct red card. You know what that means, eh?
He's missing Inter.
How fucking stupid can you
Yeah.
be? Everyone's raving about this guy. Pep Guardiola wanted him for 60 million and he's touted to be the next great, not only wing back in Italian football, players, because you watch him play with the ball at his feet, the vision that he has, how ambidextrous he is, he's how positionally aware, how he sees the link-ups before he plays any pass. He's great. But he made so many individual mistakes last season where Guardiola was like, okay, don't want him anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people questioned him, and Motta and Tudor weren't starting him. They give him the start. On match day 1, where they're winning the game 1-0, and he goes and hits someone in the face. Because he's a dillweed. Because an opportunity like that gets squandered. And he is so lucky. He is so lucky that moments after that red card, Vlahovic came on, Yildiz did what he did, and Vlahovic scored. Because if he didn't, and Parma would have gotten one back, and they would have dropped points and then missed him against Inter.
Yeah, because it's not like Parma didn't create anything, and they had 2 decent chances in both halves.
Mm-hmm.
So something could have definitely happened. But Cambiaso, you can't be doing that.
Doing that, man. You can't be doing that.
No. It's honestly a very bad look for him at this point, because it's not the first time he's done it as well. And I don't know, man. You have a bit of a discipline problem, it seems. Even Yildiz last year got a dumb red card.
Very, very similarly.
Yeah. So Vlahovic scored, and then he opened his arms out in front of the fans, and he was trembling with adrenaline, and he had tears in his eyes. I thought that was a very powerful moment, and you could really see the pressure and the weight on Vlahovic's shoulders and everything he's going through at the moment. Not necessarily from entering the pitch, of course, but it's more like receiving a salary. You're the highest paid earner. No one thinks you deserve it. Everyone wants you out. You are scapegoated as to being the reason why Juve can't have a functional mercato. You know, so it really showed, man, in his face, I think, the pressure
it
he's
did.
under.
I don't know if pressure is the right word. I think he himself right now, if I'm Vlahovic, I'm scared. Because why isn't anyone pouncing on this opportunity, paying me and just getting me? Man, I'm one of the most expensive strikers in Serie A history. I was Juve's top scorer last season. I have a record of like 200 games, 80 goals, something like that. I'm not a bad player, you know. He must be scared for his future. Funnily, I don't think pressure is what he felt on the pitch in this game. I think Vlahovic would have felt pressure in every single match he's played for Juve, apart from this one. I think he's 1 foot out. I don't think he doesn't care, but I think he knows that mentally he wants to leave. The club wants him out. He's just come and gone. Let's see. There are the fans. This might be the last time. This might be. You know, when you quit a job and you become a beast at your job because you're carefree, because you're not scared to take risks and stuff like that. That's how Vlahovic played to me.
No. I mean, sure, right? If Juve do keep him at this point, it's probably against their will. And I'm sure he knows that. But it's more like, I mean, the weight of your name being in the news constantly, and the fans stopping you in the street and all this stuff, you know, I mean, it takes a toll. I mean, he's a young guy at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's
power to Dusan, huh?
Yes, power to Dusan. 3 points for Juve, clean sheet. They got the job done. Some stats to sprinkle on this game. Jonathan David has scored 4 goals in the last 4 seasonal debut games between Serie A and League One. Furthermore, he is the second Canadian to score in Serie A after Buchanan, by the way, who scored a hat-trick last weekend.
Yo.
Yeah. Tudor has said that Cambiaso will be fined, by the way.
Okay, nice.
So
nice.
good to see that.
Good.
And
Even though he's probably still on stipend, how old is he, man? Probably still making
yeah,
money from the government. How old is he, man?
he
I know he's
should-
25. He's
25.
25.
Yeah, and that's like a 17-year-old.
Literally.
I
See what happens?
think just to talk about Parma a little bit. So Juve, I mean, same old Juve. Under Tudor, quite creative. Lots of crosses going in. Good on the counter as well. Good on the break. I thought that Thuram was very good in the middle. I liked Conceição despite him.
Thuram.
Yeah, Thuram.
For Juve.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought we switched to Parma.
Not yet. I'm just summing up. Conceição as well is a good player, a very direct player, but sometimes his decision making is just he gets what's the word, tunnel vision.
Yeah, exactly.
When he gets the ball, he looks at the goalpost and starts charging.
They do have other options to him.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if they want to have essentially just a different variation, there's Nico Gonzalez, who is a lot calmer on the ball. He's less erratic, but less threatening perhaps than Conceição. He does have better finishing, etc. So you see him a bit more as a secondary striker. Alternatively, and then there's also, we didn't get to see much of him, but Cope Miners, who he can play. He'll be in a bit more of a free role, I would say, a bit like Conte sets up his Napoli side.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one position,
or Colomani if he comes back as well. Colomani can
could play
that role.
behind.
Sorry.
It's true. The one position that looked a little bit dodgy was Kalulu playing out wide. Now I understand that for tactical reasons, it's nice to have him there because he can tuck in, he can defend, he's very versatile, but he's not exactly great at crossing and bombing forward. He hasn't really upped his game.
I think he is a really good, he would be a really good centre back in a three at the back.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, I've always seen him play as at a four at the back, both at Juve under Motta and with Milan under Pioli. And the second the team starts playing at three at the back, it gets shifted to a wing back, which I find interesting because wing back, I liked what I saw from João Mario when he came on. Not outstanding, but I liked.
He carries
what
the
I
ball
saw.
well,
and he was involved in the third goal, I believe. Not exactly a hockey assist, but he was there in the build up.
and the second goal.
I believe so.
And
Kelly didn't have a bad game,
no, he was
but
alright.
Kalulu for Kelly.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah. Kalulu for Kelly. Hashtag.
Kalulu for Kelly.
On the other hand, Parma, in my opinion, that was Catenaccio, man.
It was very defensive.
It was
very
like you're telling me that this is the manager who did this forward-thinking Arteta assistant, up and coming. This looked like Catenaccio to me. Looked like the old school Ballardini ball.
To an exaggerated extent. I liked the way they transitioned from attack to defense, as in like they know their shape and they know how to hold it. That's as far as I'd go for praise with how he set up and how he set up the team to play. I think it's hard to judge if your debut is for a relegation threatened side at the Allianz against Juve, because if I were playing Football Manager, I would go ultra defensive over it.
Yeah,
That's me, 28-year-old Matt, to be fair, only a year apart. That's just me with no football qualifications. But that's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pragmatic because I don't want to get destroyed 5-0 like Torino in match day 1. I do think we'll see some more dynamism to them and some more attacking football, because if we don't, then why the hell did you get this guy in the first place?
Exactly. So yes, that's pretty much it from my end for this game. I'm gonna ask you, bro, can you reach for the AC remote for the second episode in a row?
Yes.
Because for some reason this thing's on 25, man.
I got this. I'm trying not to break anything.
Nice.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Who's next?
Me! Como. Finally,
Como, yes,
we get
dude.
to discuss Como. This, to me, Como were the standout team. I know Inter won 5-0. Oh, Matty hates Inter. Como were the standout team. Como 2, Lazio 0. Fabregas up against Sarri on Sarri's return. Como lined up with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Boutez in goal and a backline of Valle, Kemp, Ramon, and Van der Bremt, exactly. Dacunha and Perrone were the double pivot. Rodriguez started on the left for his debut. Voivoda as a right midfielder here / right winger, and Nico Paz playing behind Duvikas. For Lazio, it was a 4-3-3 formation, of course. It is Sarri. Provedel in goal, backline of Lazzari, Hila, Prostgard and Tavares. Midfield trio of Guendouzi, Cataldi and Dele Bashiru, with Cancelleri on the right, Zaccagni on the left and Castellanos up front. Quite a different side to the Lazio that we're used to of previous years, even though they were hit with the transfer ban and couldn't make any signings. We don't typically see Prostgard there, we don't typically see Cataldi there, or Dele Bashiru really, or Cancelleri.
Yeah, but they were all out of necessity, no more than they were forced hands by Sarri.
Oh, yes and no. I would say the forced hand was yes, Prostgard, and Cancelleri
And Cataldi as well, because
but here he's choosing to play Sarri with a 3-man midfield instead of having Dia behind Castellanos. So that's a choice.
Because Rovella had a child and hadn't slept the entire night.
That's
before.
what it was, because he didn't sleep.
He didn't sleep, so that's why he didn't play. Well, he came on.
Oh, how the other half live, huh?
Oh.
How the other half live. Sometimes I don't sleep, I have to go to work, man. Whatever. So, the first half, not much action, but what we saw immediately is Como's intensity and how Como were going to suffocate Lazio. Como were going to suffocate a Sarri side who is known for building play out of the back. But Como completely stopped them from doing anything of the sort. In the 47th minute, Duvikas finished well, but it was all about the Nico Paz dribble and through pass. I mean, you can't compare that to anyone else but Messi when you see an assist like that. Who else are you going to compare an assist like that to? There's Argentine, but with that movement.
Yeah, with the pirouette.
So Guti was a bit more stationary. That pirouette was gorgeous. It was genius. The through pass, oh man, so well placed, so well weighted. Fantastic by Paz. I was watching it and I went, oh, when he landed it, because it was insane. In the 64th minute, we thought out of nowhere that Lazio got an equalizer, but Tati's goal was disallowed for an offside. It was quite a clear offside as well. Wait 1 second, sorry about that. In the 73rd minute, and then Paz stepped up to take a free kick, and I'm like, no way after he did that. Boom, top corner, top bins, zero stress, zero overthinking. Oh, I'm just a 21-year-old. I'm just however young I am. And just nails the free kick for just a standout performance. And then 3 minutes later, he almost got another assist.
He's banged the table.
He almost got another assist,
And
but
Voivoda.
Voivoda rattled the woodwork, man. Just absolute insane performance by Nico Paz, but
then
an insane performance by Como.
Absolutely. I think Fabregas then had to substitute Nico Paz because he was getting dangerously close to impregnating one of the Lazio players. Honestly, he was just having fun out there. It was wild to see, and Como just outplayed Lazio, and Lazio looked like a team with no spirit, man. To be honest, that was the most shocking thing in my opinion, because you'd think that Sarri, I mean, granted, he doesn't have anything to work with regarding the transfer market, but you think it managed to motivate this group, you know? It just seemed like a team that didn't care. But and even in the first half, they ended the first half with 30% ball possession. They got played out of the park.
But you know what it is, man. So, firstly, I think Fabregas is just doing something unbelievably right, because at his age, to be able to get the team to work so hard for him and to stick to his style of play so much, it's admirable that a coach has that kind of power and influence over a very happy team, a team that seems happy, no one wants out, you know. Of course, they get paid so well as well, to be fair. But all these players can play with the ball at their feet. It's such
they're all
a plus.
technically
They can all. if they have 3 players around them, they could all work their way out from that, man. You look at Dacunia, you look at Perrone, you look at Paz, you look at Rodriguez, you look at Duvikas. Even Voivoda is able to do that to some
Even
degree.
Ramon looked like he got close
man.
to scoring. Ramon, the centre back, and Valle out wide, by the way, or as they pronounce him in the Asta, Valle.
Valle.
They did really well, both of them, on their debut. And even Rodriguez, man out wide, had a very good debut.
Yes,
Solid.
man. Very, very, very good. We didn't
Yeah.
get to see Baturina. Hopefully we'll get to see him soon. I think the way that Sarri put it at the end of the game was a perfect explanation. He said, Como ran with the ball. We ran with our legs. And I think that sums it up perfectly. Because Lazio, technically, they looked inferior. They looked slow and toothless in attack. I think Tati, as always, you can't fault his grinta, you can't fault how hard he's trying throughout, but just soft, man. Nothing,
Soft,
no bite, limp,
Flaccid.
just flaccid, literally. And he was wasteful. Cancelleri and Zaccagni didn't really threaten at any points if they even managed to get the ball to them.
So, first of all, I'm totally surprised that Lazio didn't attempt more balls over the top, because they had a goal disallowed. Castellanos was marginally
like
offside. But you find success against Como if you pin them back a little bit. Matthias was saying this on Discord as well, that if you pin Como back with long balls, their strategy isn't as effective if they have to start from way deep. And you can cause some panic as well, because they play super high. And the one time they did it, they were successful. They pinged the ball over the top, and then Tati got in behind and scored immediately. So I don't know if it's simply because Como pressed them too hard that they didn't manage to play any balls over the top, or if it was some oversight by Lazio.
I think a bit of both, but also you have to. One thing that they also have, Como is quite physical defenders, right? With Kempf and Van der Brent, for example, they'll be the first to these balls as well.
Yes, but if it's a high line, when you've got
Yes,
runners in
yes,
behind
yes.
like Cancelleri, Zaccagni, Castellanos, you'd think they have the legs to do something over there.
True. I
This
want
also
to.
saw the first. You were gonna say the same thing?
Yes.
Go for it.
No, it's fine. I mean, we're talking about Castellanos' disallowed goal. This
Yeah.
also saw a historic moment taking place in Serie A, right? Because the goal was disallowed, and for the first time, we got to see a referee in Italian announcing the decision to the masses, to the public, right? And obviously, it's cool. We get to see it as spectators. We get to understand what the decision is. Sometimes we get VAR showing us something that they shouldn't be showing us because the call is being made on something else. So it's educating us at the same time. I can't get over it, man.
Yeah.
I can't get over it.
So first of all, I thought it was really cool. But then in Italy, everyone started joking about how the speaker quality and the tone of the referee, it sounded just like Mussolini on the balcony. It sounded like Mussolini on the balcony. I will have the video. I think Nick can pull it up right now. Yeah, it's just uncanny, to be honest. And in this video, it's just black and white.
È partito in posizione di fuorigioco. Decisione finale, fuorigioco. Seguito di
The clip of Mussolini on the balcony just yelling passionately, and it sounds exactly like
Sounds
that.
just like that, man. It's uncanny, to be
That's
honest.
brilliant.
And of course, the Italian media went mental. Even on live TV, they mentioned it.
No shit. So we mentioned Lazio's problems. They failed to play the ball out of the back. They were completely suffocated. We know there were some unavailabilities for them, and this is Sarri's first game back. We spoke about Nico Paz, who was the star of the show. We spoke about Fabregas and Como's identity. One guy that I'd like to just highlight as well is Duvikas. And Duvikas didn't just score this game. I thought Duvikas really improved last season. He was signed in January, and he really started to improve as the season went on. He clearly became the favourite over there, the favourite starting striker. Now saw him score a brace last week in the Coppa Italia, and now he opened his league account. Strong, direct, clinical. I think it's good to have Morata there as like a more experienced figure, someone to bring in when you need a little bit of grinta, to have that first line of defense when you're winning, or rather when you're losing. But Duvikas, I think this is gonna be a big season for
Yeah.
Duvikas.
Duvikas gets the ball in midfield, and he's on his own. He's isolated, and he turns and he dribbles a player.
Yeah.
He's totally fearless, and he's very technical as well. Meanwhile, Milan's striker gets the ball in midfield, goes to fix his nasal strip, falls over, does this.
Yes,
Anyway.
bro. Yes. So good. It's good to cross compare like that.
Yes.
Well done. Next, bro, it's you. unless you want to
Atalanta
add something.
1, Pisa 1. This was the opening match for Atalanta under Ivan Juric. And it was a frustrating 1-1 draw against newly promoted Pisa, who are coached by the legendary Alberto Gilardino.
Who also debuted for Pisa and Serie A here.
Exactly.
Of course, Pisa. I know when you see Gilardino as a coach, it's easy to think that Gilardino is the guy that got them promoted. He didn't. It was actually Inzaghi.
It was
that got
Inzaghi,
them
who's
promoted.
currently at Palermo. Exactly. If you would like his kit, it's right here. Benevo bid. Inzaghi touched this.
Inzaghi touched this, yes. And now we touched it. So if you get it, not only would have Inzaghi touched it, but we touched it as well. So
Exactly.
it went up by what? €6.30 or something.
If you wish. Carnesecchi was in goal for Atalanta with Scalvini, Hien and Jim City at the back. Zalewski and Bellanova were on the wings with Derun and Pasalic as the midfield duo, with De Ketelare and Daniel Maldini playing off the shoulders of Scamacca, who's
Jim
back.
City bitch. Jim City bitch. Jim City bitch. Jim City bitch.
Jimaldinho, huh? This game. With that
Jamal
moment.
shut the bed.
Jamal shut. Yeah, that was hilarious. We'll get to it soon. So Semper was in goal for Pisa, even though some people are calling him Shemper or something. Canastrelli, Caracciolo, and Denun were at the back
Oh, enjoy,
for
bro.
Pisa. Angori on the left and Toure on the right, with Abisher and Marin in the middle. Moreo and Tramoni playing behind Meister. Isn't that the
H-
microphone we're investing in, Meister? Isn't that the microphone we're getting, Meister, or is it not?
No,
You-
it's Mao or something.
You're telling me
I don't know.
H.W. Meister didn't write The Great Gatsby?
You're telling me H.W. Meister isn't a sauce? Yeah. So despite early pressure, of course, Pisa went ahead through an Atalanta own goal by Isaac Hien after Angori's cross. It was some nice play by Pisa, not bad.
You're telling me Angori wasn't the main character in The Pianist? Telling me Angori didn't win an Oscar and was at the Como game recently?
You're telling me that Toure dribbles like that every game in the build up to that goal, because that was some hilarious dribbling. And it
he's
worked.
like-
It worked.
He's like 7 steps away from the defender, but
Yeah.
he does a step over.
Yeah.
Just like, well, I'm coming. But Zalewski really poor defensively there.
Yeah,
Man.
really poor. He panicked when he saw the formidable Toure charging at him. Pisa almost doubled their lead, actually, through a Morea header, which was well saved by Carnesecchi, kind of punched up.
Mhm.
And then Scamacca, of course, returning from his long ACL injury layoff, equalized after the break with his first Serie A goal in over 450 days, finishing very intelligently from a Pasalic assist. It was one of those where he had a split second to shoot and he took it and he
Yes,
angled it perfectly.
brilliant.
Atalanta pushed hard for the winner. They hit the crossbar through Scamacca. They forced Semper into several key saves. He was very
Semper
good.
was great.
He
Semper,
was very,
Semper.
very good. There was a crucial stop one-on-one on Maldini. What a miss by Maldini. Jim City had a big miss as well after Maldini played him through. He had a bit of a clumsy moment where he ended up actually teeing himself up quite nicely, but then he remembered, oh, I'm Jim City, and then he skied it.
Not
Exactly. Exactly. But Maldini's miss would be the worst one, and we've seen Maldini miss so many of those.
Literally.
Yeah. Pisa held firm and they claimed an impressive point, whereas Atalanta were disappointed for the first game under Juric. However, do not panic, for I have many memories of Atalanta drawing at home to minnow sides under Gasperini as well, so this isn't anything totally out of the blue. I remember them being held by Cagliari in their stadium. I recall them having many points dropped at home. It's not like they were a totally dominant team at home.
Life was never perfect with
Yeah.
Gasperini for Atalanta. I think it's a case of this guy got us so far. Can we can we survive without him, kind
Yeah.
of thing. They have a manager who plays similar football in Juric. Squad is a little bit different in the sense that, of course, there's no Retegui and there's no Lookman. I think those are two huge losses. For some reason, he decided to go for a midfield that excluded Ederson, which I found quite interesting. I think he's got two good strikers to his arsenal in Scamacca and Kristovic. Both certainly bring grinta and goal-scoring abilities. I think last season and the season before Kristovic showed us what he could do for Lecce, a team that can't score many. But I think this is literally match day one. I don't think we should look into it too much. I thought Pisa, again, you could really tell that it's a Gilardino side, right? Just tough to play against. I don't foresee them. You look at the squad as well. I don't foresee them doing anything groundbreaking. I see them getting relegated quite soon, like. But Atalanta, I think we saw glimpses. I think they didn't finish their chances because they had chances, man. That Scamacca chance where he hit the crossbar, the Maldini chance as well, the Gym City chance. I don't think it was a terrible performance. Unlucky start, he ended with the own goal. I think after that they almost managed to get the win quite soon after.
Yeah, and in reality it was a tale of two halves because Atalanta had to grow into it. The first half they were super disorganized and a mess, you know. And the second half they grew into it and they created quite a few chances. Michael said it well on the Discord channel. By the way, I love this Discord thing. Thank you, Tyson, for setting it up instead of our WhatsApp.
You know what it is, man? I don't have an app on my phone that I can just easily and get into. So
you don't have the Discord app? Oh, you should get the Discord app. It's lit.
Huge as a Discord app.
Of course.
Discord sponsor us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, he left a nice little paragraph. I'll read it. He said, disappointing first half, 15 to 20 minutes until the half. The team was still very disorganized. Match was a tale of two halves. Weak first half and finished strong in the second. Definitely dropped 2 points here. Scamacca looked deadly as he grew into the match. De Ketelare distributed the ball well. Sulemana was quite the spark and looks like he'd offer something. He said more than Lookman. I'm not sure I agree there. Maldini had great control of the ball and was tough to bump off it, but his decision making was so poor. And that's the thing with Maldini, right? He's quite good on the ball and he shields it well, he moves well, but then it's the final third that he often does. Even this way, he didn't see the pass. He missed. There was an obvious pass as well for him that was totally on. He didn't play it. He said, "I'm interested to see how these centre backs manage in these new offensive roles. I like the overloading, and I noticed Scalvini was getting into some dangerous positions. I can see him bagging a few goals. I liked Zalewski as well. He brought a real spark offensively and looked solid defensively. I hope Pasalic playing deep isn't the trend of the season, and I'm sure it won't be, to be honest. I'm sure that this, like, Ederson will be in that position for sure.
He has to, because he's the best player that didn't leave. He's the best player that didn't leave. Otherwise, it was Lookman and Retegui. He's that guy in midfield. He bosses, he dominates the midfield when he's having a good game, which is most of the occasions. I like what he said about the defenders in more attacking roles. Scalvini excels at that particularly. We know what kind of positions he can get himself into, and I'm confident he'll grab a few goals. This season he grabbed around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Hopefully he stays fit. Of course, an ACL is tough to come back from.
Agreed. But yes, I'm curious to see these little teams play each other. That will give you a better idea as to how they operate. Pisa in particular, right? And I believe this game was on during Como Lazio, so
yes.
Thankfully we had Michael watching it and he filled us in on it.
I'm curious to see it. Okay, so there's Cremonese Sassuolo.
Cremonese Sassuolo is a good one.
It is a very good one. Okay, and then
Pisa play Roma, shit.
Lecce Milan, Bologna Como, Parma Atalanta, Napoli Cagliari, Pisa Roma, Torino Fiorentina, Genoa Juve, Inter Udinese, Lazio Verona. So no, really.
We're back, baby.
Cremonese Sassuolo is the minnow side clash.
Yes. Shall we move on to the next?
Yes, let's. Nick, how far in are we, bro?
Time?
Yeah.
We are 1 minute, 1 hour 30.
1 hour 30,
nice.
good.
We're in good time.
Look at us. Cagliari 1, Fiorentina 1. Pisacane versus Pioli, another two managers making their league debut. So Cagliari at home lined up in a 4-3-1-2 formation, quite interesting, with Caprile in goal, a backline of Aubert, Luperto, Mina and Zappa, a midfield trio of Deola, Prati and Adopo, with Sebastiano Esposito just ahead of them, and then a front two of Michael Folorunshaw, who I really enjoyed watching once again, at his best, playing hopefully what will be regular football. And alongside Borelli. Who is Borelli? Borelli is a 25-year-old 6'4" striker that they brought in from Brescia.
Very nice.
3-4-2-1 formation for Pioli's men, with David De Gea on goal and a backline of Comuzzo, Pongracic and Ranieri. Dodo was on the right, Gosens on the left, a midfield two of Som and Fagioli, with Goodmanson and Ndour playing behind Moise Kean. The thing is, this is the exact same 11, formation-wise, individually and everything, that faced Polizia 3 days before, where they won 3-0. The exact same formation. Now, the exact same team. 3 days ago, bro.
3 days ago, but I assume they were all subbed out at halftime, right? Still, though.
I mean, it's a Europa League. It was a competitive game, as in.
Oh, it was. Yeah,
it was
you're
the
right.
Conference League qualifiers. Have a look.
That's bizarre. Oh my god, it's literally the same team.
It's crazy.
That is wild, actually. That's
so
insane.
Pioli.
Good observation.
Really weird by Pioli. In the 20th minute, Cagliari almost opened the scoring, because I have to say, Cagliari played this game like they had little respect for their opponents. You know, they went and they're like, we're even sides, we're going to attack, you're going to attack, let's just have some fun. And in 20th minute, Folorunsha's header on a corner slipped under De Gea, but Gosens cleared it off the line, really close, and a great start by Cagliari.
Great clearance by Gosens.
Yes. 68th minute, and then Fiorentina opened the scoring. It was Goodmanson who whipped in a cross, and Mandragora ghosted past Mina to nod it in with a header. It was against the run of play, but Mandragora reminding us, hey, everyone that forgot me on Fantacalcio, i.e. Matt, I score.
Yeah, and also, what a cross by Goodmanson, because to get Mandragora in a situation where he can beat Mina in a header, the ball needs to be perfect. So that was a great
Exactly,
goal.
It was in front of him, and Mina was behind him. In the 75th minute, Moise Kean fluffed his lines.
I saw it, but it
he wasn't
changed direction quite quickly.
Wasn't expecting the ball to come to him, and to be fair, it came to him by some miracle. I don't know what the defender was doing, but the ball got to him and he just knocked it over. 94th minute. Gaetano whips a free kick into the unmarked Luperto, who was running in. It's even unfair to call him unmarked because he was running in. He flicks the header on. It looks like De Gea's got his body behind it, but he didn't, and it slips through him, slides into the net. 94th minute. The Unipol Domus erupts, everyone's going crazy. And just the celebration when you watch Luperto running, and that really raw Italian celebration when you're just like pumping your fists like I can't believe it.
It's
non ci credo.
The best case scenario when it's a last minute goal and the guy scoring it doesn't usually score.
Exactly, man.
You know, especially if it's a centre back, a big motherfucker. And
Luperto, man.
That was a very powerful moment. It's through the goal. And in Sardinia the fans going crazy, and he just couldn't believe it. He was so happy.
Absolutely. Oh to be back, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk instantly about Pisacane before we get into Pioli and Fiorentina, etc. I thought for his Serie A debut, I thought he took a really brave approach, because there was high pressing from Cagliari that really unsettled Fiorentina, and I don't think they allowed Fiorentina to play their own game at all, because of that's Fiorentina's game. They're in for a disastrous season. There was a clear shift in mentality from the previous seasons, where they're a bit more of that pragmatic side, and they shut up shop and they let teams attack them. With Pisacane, it seemed a little bit more modern in the sense that they like to press to win the ball high upfield. And I thought that Cagliari, midfield-wise, they dominated Fiorentina. I don't think it was a total domination of a game, but midfield-wise, they were all over them, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
They didn't allow a single shot before Mandragora's goal.
Yeah. And even statistically, it's very, very even. Not what you'd expect. Possession 45% to Cagliari. I'm very excited to see more from Pisacane's Cagliari, and to be honest, also more from Pioli's Fiorentina, because I had no idea that they played 3 days before with the exact same lineup. That makes more sense, to be honest, because from what I saw, Fiorentina looked a little bit leggy compared to Cagliari.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was the energy from the stadium that transmitted to the Cagliari players, but it makes sense considering they played a competitive game.
It was such a weird call.
Weird
by
call.
Pioli,
It's true. It's not like they don't have a deep squad.
the exact same 11 is crazy. No,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a super deep squad, but fuck me, man, if this is going to be the tactic when playing in 3 competitions, then
Yeah.
it's not exactly a sustainable one. That's how people get hurt, man.
There are many
That's how
players
you lose
here
Moise
who
Kean
could
for a
have been.
season.
Yeah. There are many players here who could have been rotated in the European fixture. You're telling me Parisi, Fazzini, Viti, Sabiri, Richardson. These guys can't. Dzeko, you know, there
literally
are
every
many
time
players.
Richardson comes on and there's an English-speaking commentator, you're like, whoa, Richardson, we know we can hit them. And so,
When have you ever seen Richardson?
I've never seen Richardson hit
them,
anything.
It's true. Commentators love Richardson.
Hey, the English surname. I thought they were wasteful. However, I think genuinely Cagliari, they could have won this game. I thought Borelli and Luvumbo both had good chances that they just simply didn't
Luvumbo
take.
should just stop shooting.
Hey,
He gets
pass
there
it.
so well, just pass it, lay
Pass
it off to someone who's got a better
Try
shot.
to
You're so
cut
good
in
at
and
dribbling.
curl it,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Don't,
And then it always goes straight to the keeper.
yeah.
Always.
And the keeper always catches
Yeah.
it. Had they been more clinical, yes, I don't think the game would have needed a last gasp rescue. Looking at Fiorentina, like we said, of course, there was the... I won't look into it too much because of the game that took place 3 days ago. It more says about the decision making, perhaps, of Pioli over there. I thought Keane particularly struggled. It seemed like it was almost like his debut. He missed a sitter as well. And typically when Keane... So there are strikers, like we said about maybe Jonathan David, Vlahovic, and these guys that... And Jimenez, they're there to score goals. The problem with those strikers is that when they're not scoring goals, they're shit.
Yeah.
If a team doesn't score, they're useless. Moise Kean isn't one of those, because Moise Kean presses, he's physical, he gets on people's nerves. He's a very, very active striker. But I didn't feel that in this game from him. I thought
think
he was a bit all over.
He was
the
well
place.
marshalled as well. I think Mina got to him. There was
They
one
had a
clip as well.
moment.
You saw the moment. For those of you who haven't seen it, they got into, I think there was a challenge from Mina on Keane. Keane fell on the floor and Mina kind of provoked him by shrugging his shoulders forward in the same provocative way Keane did last season.
Yeah,
Then
hoping
Keane-
there's a photographer.
yeah.
Just
Then Keane got up, returned the gesture, and then gestured to him 1-0, and then Cagliari scored right after.
And then, after he gestured to him 1-0, Mina went to high-five him, and Moise Kean left him hanging, knowing exactly what he's doing. It's like, and then puts his hand behind his head. It's like, fucking got you, man. Kean is hilarious with these things, like the
He is.
revenge greedy last season.
Hilarious.
Amazing. But Keane did struggle. This was the same guy that got like 25 goals last season, so he's been a mixed bag in the past. We'll see what the season is going to be like for him. De Gea also had a mixed night because he made an excellent save on Gaetano, but ultimately he did cost Fiorentina the win with that really soft goalkeeping on the goal, I would say.
It was
I thought that was an easy save for a keeper like De Gea.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
tended to happen at United as well.
As well?
His late days of United. He was
Like
very-
when the ball rolls under him. I remember him getting criticism for saving with his legs mostly.
Perhaps he should have used his fucking leg there because he tried to use his hands and
Honestly.
genuinely he
He
should
has
have.
poor decision making for his wisdom
Uh-huh.
and his experience. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. I always saw criticism that he can't play with the ball at his feet, and that's why certain managers hated him, particularly Ten Hag. But this was just typically the hair fucking gets to those, because if there's one thing he is, it's a shot stopper, but he let the team down there a little bit. But Fiorentina will really be looking ahead to the next game.
Both teams, I think. I think that they can both go home with their heads held high. I mean, you look at a season overall, a draw to Cagliari in Sardinia isn't the end of the world. These things happen. Tough game, very tough game. Udinese 1, Hellas Verona 1. Now, I put this game on. The first half had me clapping and screaming because I was so bored.
I thought you're having a good time. So you're basically saying
I lost my
you might
mind.
as well have a mental asylum is what
exactly.
you're saying.
Exactly, bro, because it went exactly how I thought it would go. The cagiest first half ever, and then 2 corner goals in the second half.
Udinese Verona, hey bro.
Yeah,
Udinese
the classic.
Verona.
We're back. I mean, let's go through the lineups for Udinese. It was Sava on goal with Bertola, Christensen, and Sole at the back. Ezibwe on the right and Zamora on the left with a 3-man midfield of Lovridge, Karlstrom, and Atta. Davis and Bravo played together up front. For Hellas Verona, it was Montepò in goal with Freze, Nelson, and Nunez at the back. Bradaric on the left, Cam on the right, Serdar, Bernarde, and Niasse in the middle with Jovan and Sar up front. Sorry, Cam threw me off. Joe Vane had a fantastic debut, by the way. He played really well. I was very impressed by him. He also got the assist.
Yeah,
So-
Joe Vane.
Let's go through it. So Verona threatened through Jovan. So the first half KG, nothing happened. That was boring. Okay, so let's start immediately from the second half. So Verona threatened through Jovan, who hit the crossbar with a powerful attempt. Christensen gave Udinese the lead in the 53rd minute by heading in Sandy Lovrich's corner. Verona responded in the 73rd minute when Jovain flicked on a corner to Serdar, who finished from close range. And then Zarraga for Udinese came on and hit the post spectacularly. Kamara also hit the post, but neither side could find a winner. For me, Udinese were a little bit better, but Hellas Verona did well to kind of, disrupt Udinese's flow and get the draw.
Mm-hmm. I think I agree with you. Udinese were slightly better than Verona. Just it didn't look to me they were anywhere where they were last season. This can happen when you lose players like Lukan, particularly Tovan, I think. But it was more than that. It was more like, and Runjaic spoke after the game as well. He said, all round as a team, our shape and whatever, we weren't as sharp as we were last season. And he also pointed out Atta and said Atta wasn't the same player today that he was in pre-season. Really highlighting he liked what he saw from Atta. He has high expectations for him. But I think this is a classic, no? This is what you expect from the two teams.
Literally a very physical game. Lovridge being the main playmaker and actually doing a pretty good job at it, stepping up. But Hellas Verona with their randomly generated players aren't looking too shabby, huh?
No, and I think these two teams also have the power of continuity, right?
Yeah.
We were speaking earlier about how many managerial changes there were. These two teams stuck with their guys last season, of course, because Udinese actually, they finished 12th or 13th with Costa Runjaic, who had a great season with them, fell off towards the end as Udinese always do. And Paolo Zanetti, who Verona showed so much faith in last year, despite battling relegation all season, and now keeping him on for another season.
Yeah.
So I favour Verona a little bit for that reason, and I have slightly higher expectations for Verona than I typically do season to season. I don't have them relegated this season, and I think they can aim for that 15th spot, for example. Again, we'll have to wait and see. This is the frustrating thing about Matchday 1, right? Zero answers.
Absolutely. You get you're not sure if what you're seeing is a flash in the pan. If it's, of course, it's still too early. I think about 10 games in, we can get a good idea of these teams.
3 games in, Lecce are 4th.
Exactly.
You remember that shit.
I remember. So yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to add. Keep your eye on Jovain this season. Keep your eye on Sole. He played really well. Lovridge might have a very important role to play. And I liked as well Hellas Verona's defense. They looked very compact as well, with Freze playing there.
Yes, and also
And
these are two sides that have weakened, right? Udinese, I mentioned the 2 players earlier. Of course, there's also Bijol that they lost. Of course, Verona also lost the centre-back Brighton.
Coppola. Yeah, but they brought in
and-
decent ones. And Nelson and Nunez aren't bad.
Yes.
But
and
of course, they're no Coppola. Yeah.
they also lost Duda and another few players that just simply aren't coming to mind right now. They had Suslov out injured over here. Okoye, by the way, this is something to mention. Okoye didn't play. Oh, why didn't Okoye play? Because Okoye gambles.
But that's resolved. No, that situation.
I think that's why he was out of this game. No, not because of his gambling situation.
I thought the gambling situation for Okoye was a thing of the past.
What? So he just simply wasn't called up?
I'm not sure. I'll check it out. If you want to introduce the next one.
August 18, 2025. The suspension, which began on August 18th, 2025.
So he is suspended.
No, sorry. So, Maduka Okoye received a 2-month ban for illegal betting, avoiding a 4-year ban for potential fraud. The suspension, which began on August 18, 2025, was for a yellow card received during a match against Lazio on March 2024, which was followed by suspicious betting activity. Okoye's suspension is expected to start on and expected to end on October 19th, 2025, making him eligible for matches from that date forward. So he is suspended for that reason.
Okay.
The yellow card, he wasn't suspended for the yellow card, but rather the yellow card made people think, I think this guy is. And the final game we're going to be covering for our first episode back, guys, is Genoa 0, Lecce 0. Vieira against Di Francesco. I personally wasn't expecting this result. I think Genoa are way better set up than Lecce are this season.
Agreed.
But something Lecce always give you, is grinta, fight, and they surprise you.
Yeah.
4-2-3-1 formation for Vieira's men. Leali in goal, a backline of Norton Cuffy, Marcandalli, Vasquez, and Aron Martin. Double pivot of Frendrup and Mazzini, with Grombek out on the left, Carboni out on the right, and Stanchu playing behind Colombo. Some new fucking sexy names. Sorry, but vibing so much.
Yeah, bro's having a great time.
Some fucking new sexy. Grombek, Stanchu, Carboni, Colombo. Very exciting stuff over there. Of course, their first time all playing together.
Apart from the Coppa.
Lecce, and then Di Francesco's Lecce, 4-3-3. Falcone in goal, backline of Vega, Gaspar, Gabriel, and Gallo. Midfield three of Koulibaly, Ramadani, and Berisha. And the front three of Banda, Camarda, and Tete Morente. Lecce started sharper in this game, with Morente forcing an early save and Banda threatening down the wing. Good for you, Nick, since you took him on Fantacalcio. Banda complete panic.
What a wild card.
At work, I was just like, he's like 5'1", Banda. I was like, what? Genoa did grow into the game, and just before the break, Falcone pulled off a stunning fingertip save to deny a Carboni strike. He really took it well. Went for the classic Carboni far post, low driven shot, but Falcone saved it really well.
He took it really badly, his miss.
He did lifting his shirt. No! After the restart, the Lecce keeper was again decisive, blocking Aron Martin at the near post, while Stanchu's free kick shaved the side netting. Neither side found a breakthrough, and the game closed in a stalemate. I think another season, and again, I don't know what more Falcone has to do to prove that he's a great keeper and that he deserves some kind of step up. He's not young. He shouldn't be at Lecce, in my opinion. I think he deserves a team that is closer to mid-table.
He's becoming somewhat of a cult hero.
Which, to be fair, I respect that from him. I'm not saying I hope he leaves, because Lecce are a beautiful club, right, from the heel of Italy, and to be adored by Southern fans is to be adored. That passionate love that you feel must be crazy,
it's
right?
It's true. And let's remember he was at Sampdoria as well before, so he's very used to that. I was impressed in this game by Camarda's openness to
man.
Yes, man. He was a leader up front, and he told off Gallo many times as well for inaccurate crosses. I think the service wasn't great, and he let them know, which is good. Interesting to see Colombo and Camarda facing off, by the way, as a Milan fan.
Yeah,
it was an interesting game. Yeah,
very interesting. I thought that Genoa, I think they had a certain disjointed start, which I think you have to expect when you look at the number of new players they have on the pitch. I think they have a better squad than they did last year, and I think they're in for a good chance to get, for example, that 10th spot or 11th spot in Serie A. I think they can finish higher than Torino, for example, this year. It's just they need time to play together. I think they're in a good place with a good manager. But they looked timid and disconnected earlier on, and they struggled to link midfield to attack.
Yeah.
And I think only after the half hour did they find like a certain rhythm about them and they grew into the game a bit. Not enough, but then they came up against a Lecce that were very tactically disciplined, which I think Di Francesco, every season we get to see him be create a bit more of a tactically disciplined team and not just free-flowing attack. I think they pressed well early. I think they used Gallo to hype in Carboni, and they generally stopped Genoa's build-up quite early on. And then later they completely shut up shop. So it was a controlled performance from their end. They pressed high, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna hang back over here.
Yeah.
There were some bright spots from Genoa, despite their disjointed start. I thought that Carboni and Stanciu, you could see that
There's something.
they're about to burst.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
guys, man. Like Stanciu had a really good free kick. I think Stanciu had. Can you see how many shots Stanciu had? Because he was hitting them, and he was hitting them.
He hit one
cleanly.
over, but you could tell he's got this technique about him.
And just when nothing is happening and it's 0-0, give me the guy that's shooting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally. He had 2 shots off target and 1 shot
shots
blocked.
And one shot blocked. Okay, for some reason it seemed more than that in my eyes.
Yeah.
But he was very, very involved, and Carboni was as well. They were definitely the most creative outlets. And Lecce, of course, just one more point on Lecce is they have a certain missing firepower about them, right? And that firepower is Kristovic. Let's see how Camarda settles into the season.
They've just signed someone. I say as I have nothing on this guy. One sec. I'm not sure.
Let's have a look at Lecce's new signing. A striker, you're saying?
Yes, a striker, I believe so. Kristovic replacement.
We'll have a look. Because Camarda, I believe, at this point is pretty much their only striker, so I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in someone. So on transfer market, I can't find anything.
I saw it announced on a fan page. Stulic. Apparently, I'm not sure if it's confirmed yet, but they're looking at a forward from Royal Charleroi called Stulic. Yeah, I mean that's it.
Stulic, because here I'm seeing that Lecce secure new striker Jovic. Of course, not the Jovic that we are used to. I see Cremonese have signed Martin Payero from Udinese and reported that Lecce have secured IMT Belgrade striker Milos Jovic.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye out on Lecce's
Clearly,
striker
I don't think there's
situation.
anything
There's
confirmed.
nothing.
There's nothing confirmed.
We're just in this panic, basically.
Yes, then this is a weird thing, and perhaps we can close off on this very short
the season's
conversation.
starting before the transfer market closes.
Yes.
Because Italiano said the same thing. He said, I hate having players who I'm not sure if they're going to be here or not, you know.
And
I agree.
There should be that element of the part of the game that I like. Is like, no, you don't get to see from the opening game of the season how well these guys are going to play together. You make the calls, use your pre-season, and then what comes in the season are the consequences of your own actions. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But for a manager, I'd see particularly why it's upsetting.
Agreed. Take it away, Nick.
We're off.
We have the segment, no?
Yep, we're off.
Yeah, all right. It's up.
I'm pulling up you're gonna have to whisper.
Oh, yes. Wisdom with the Wank.
Take it away, brother.
So in this edition of Wisdom with the Wank, we have retired Simeon Wankwo from this one, and in his stead is his fellow compatriot, fellow Nigerian, Victor Boniface. So we'll call it Wisdom with the Boner this time. Yeah. Who posted an Instagram story, and to be honest, it's just perfect for this segment. So I don't know if you want to do the honors to read it, or shall I?
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so
I'll
he posted
reflect
the story, as you can see right above me. Boniface no serious, he day everywhere. I day club like Leverkusen, and club like Milan want me, and I no serious. So if I serious na club for Jupiter, I go day play. Clowns everywhere. If I no serious and I day this level, make I remain like that. Wisdom of the Wank.
Wisdom with the Wank.
Poetry.
I don't disagree with what Boniface is saying. I don't. I know exactly what he's saying, because if you read it with intonation, Boniface no serious, he day everywhere. I day club like Leverkusen, and club like Milan wants me, and I no serious. So if I serious, club for Jupiter I go they play.
The intonation's better here.
Right. So I think that's you have to read it with that. So I don't disagree with him. He's not an unserious player, right? He's just, bro.
If I know serious and I date this level I make remain like that.
Bro, so if I serious, club like Jupiter I go they play.
So this is Pigeon, right?
Yes.
It's I asked ChatGPT to what he's saying basically, and it said this. So it said Boniface isn't serious, he's everywhere. I go to clubs like Leverkusen and Milan want me, and I'm not serious. I go to clubs like Leverkusen and Milan want me, and I'm not serious, exactly like you said. So if I were serious, I'd be playing for a club on another level entirely.
Jupiter.
Like Jupiter, exactly. There are clowns everywhere. If I'm not serious and I'm already at this level, I'll just stay like this. And he's
which
right.
is
right,
fair. Yes. I don't think it's a matter of him not being serious. I think it's really harsh to say that. I think it's a guy that has had 2 ACLs and has an injury-ridden career, and I think he risks serious damage to his career by this.
Yeah, I think
this situation happening, because he's failed 2 medicals now.
No, that's true. I think that most of what he's seen about him not being serious is the kind of conservative Milan fans responding to the clips of him celebrating, because everyone was saying we can't get this guy isn't serious, etc., etc. And then of course there was the fact that he failed his medical, where people questioned his ability.
What was I gonna say? I didn't want him because of his injuries. Then I saw his celebration. I'm like, bring him in.
Yes, I would love that celebration
of
Milan.
That's the kind of guy I want.
Yeah,
but
someone who just scores and starts taking the piss.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
I love that shit. I love that shit.
I saw Cremonese want Vardy. Make that happen. Give David and Nicola Jamie Vardy.
What? So I'll have to fucking watch Cremonese alone every single time? I'll start whiling out like, well, it'll be a cool signing. No, I don't think it helps the reputation the league has as a retirement home.
Fuck the reputation, eh? It is what it is. The season Italy went hard on the vets.
Yeah.
Immobile, Dzeko, Modric.
What's his name?
Bernardeschi. He's not even that old.
Fucking who else, bro? Yeah, we'll have one more.
Stanchu's 32.
Stanchu's 32. Well, I thought he was younger. I think that's that. That's our first episode back. Well done, everyone. Very
Good
well
shit.
done. Good shit. Well done. Prosit, Nick.
Good shit, Nick.
Good to be back, guys. Same time next week. Matchday 2. Let's
Absolutely.
go. Ciao.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
The football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.